good day. Hope everyone's having a good time. We're going to be discussing the New York Jets linebacker position. We got a lot to talk about. So call in 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm going to take all callers. You know what I'm saying? We're discussing it all. We're going to talk about free agency as well. That franchise tag, today's the day. People putting it up. Free agency's coming soon. I believe it's on the 16th. So there's going to be a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss today. So again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Lines are open. You know what I'm saying? We got callers. Salutes to them. We'll get to them in a second. So hold on 1 second, folks, and we're going to connect the audio, and we'll get right back, and we'll start the show. Hold on 1 second. Salutes to all the Savages as well, man.
Blog Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. Back at it again, folks. And today it is time to talk. We got a lot to discuss. A lot going on in the NFL, the combine. Things have been moved around there, but looks like things are gonna go back kind of the way they were. We're going to discuss that. We're also going to discuss the New York Jets linebacker position. So a lot to be, discussed there. A lot of moves that we can make. We're going to talk about free agency as well. Franchise tags, they're looming. Today's the day. It opened up. A lot of teams can end up grabbing guys and keeping them if they want to, placing that tag. So we're going to have a lot of discussion about that as well. Everybody knows the number, 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. So we'll have a lot of discussion surrounding that. But listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. Now, listen, folks. Your boy is on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? YoungJ000. All right? Go ahead, follow that page, the show's page as well as at The Long Beach Joe. Go ahead and follow those pages, man. Talk to me about football. I love going back and forth with people. Some people just hit me up about life. Hey, it is what it is. The show is also on iTunes as well, my friends. All right, go on iTunes, search The Long Beach Joe Show, subscribe to that. You know what I'm saying? Leave your boy a rating as well. Listen to my shows. Let me know how you feel about it. I got a bunch of people leave me some 5-star ratings. Please continue to leave me comments, 5-star ratings as well. Let me know how you feel about what I'm doing over here. I truly enjoy the interaction with people. Also, if anyone wants to join my Discord, my mods are constantly getting after me. I respect and love my mods, all right? Listen, we have a Discord. You can go to any of my social media platforms, my Facebook, Twitter, any of that stuff. Hit that link tree, and my Discord's in there. Join the Discord. We have fun. We go back and forth. We laugh. Tell jokes, do all kinds of stuff. Now, if you come in there on a crazy business, we're going to get you up out of there, My mods is going to push you on out the door. But, come and join. We have a lot of fun. We tell a lot of jokes, play around a lot. You know what I'm saying? And we talk Jets in there too, and we enjoy ourselves. So, it's all good there. So, now with that done, man, what a couple days it's been. A lot of things moving around in the NFL right now. A lot of changes have been made. And I'm going to start with some of the changes to the NFL Combine. Originally, there was a story that came out, reports that were coming out that there were NFL agents that were organizing a boycott of the NFL Combine, okay? It was over 150. It was some agents that represented over 150 players. out of the 324 that were supposed to participate. And they were saying, hey, we might find a way to make sure that our players don't go out there and test, don't go out there and bench, don't go out there and subject themselves to any of the, stuff that's going on over there at the combine unless some things change. Now, what the combine had implemented, what the NFL implemented within the combine was a bubble. Okay, it was a bubble due to the response of everything that's going on out there in the world. Okay, we're on YouTube. Salutes to everybody. We all know what's going on out there in the world and why we wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? So the NFL decided to add some restrictions to the situation. And, some of the restrictions and some of the things that they had done was basically the players were only allowed to bring one medical support staff. And that medical support staff had to be fully protected from what's going on out there in the world. Now, the player had to stay within the bubble for the full event. And if they were caught outside the bubble or anywhere outside the rules, then they would have been asked to leave. There was a lot of limitations placed on when they could contact agents and trainers and all of those things. And so that kind of threw things into a loop. And so agents, of course, got upset. Trainers, of course, got upset because of the impact that it could have had on, the player's performance. Of course, if you're trying to bench, you want to talk to your trainer. You want to get mentally prepared. You want to get ready to go. If you're interviewing with teams, guess what? Your agent is going to be one of the biggest helps to that, because he's going to be able to kind of sit down and prep with you, go back and forth with you, throw questions at you, see how you answer it. There's a lot of good players that have issues with the interview. Hell, there's a lot of good coaches out there that can't get hired because they don't do well on interviews. You know what I'm saying? It's the truth. So with all that kind of playing into whether you rise up the board or drop down the board, a lot of people got upset. A lot of people got upset with the situation. Initially, I was thinking to myself like, hey, this could benefit the New York Jets greatly because I trust in our general manager. I think he's phenomenal. If the NFL had held up those restrictions and a lot of players did end up boycotting, I was thinking, hey, the Jets draft capital, that's going up. Because guess what? There's a lot of players that go to the combine, and if they don't, if they perform well, they shoot up the board. And if they don't perform well, sometimes they slide down the board, even though they're good players. Well, if they don't go at all, then guess what? That could help the New York Jets as well. That's what I was thinking initially. I thought, hey, there could be a lot of draft steals. There's a lot of things that could go on. And Joe Douglas, especially with their experience with the Senior Bowl, could truly benefit from a lot of that inside knowledge that they have on players. That Senior Bowl stuff, being able to sit down, being able to watch players, being able to watch, being able to talk to them, getting a lot of the character stuff, seeing how they respond to your coaching style. A lot of that stuff can go into who you draft. Absolutely, it could. Now, since that, things have changed, okay? The combine came out, the NFL came out, they released another statement that they're no longer, going to be confining players to the bubble, but they will have some secured areas, okay? But the players are still going to be allowed to move and do what they want to do. They still can leave those areas, like kind of during their free time, they can move around and do their thing, but a lot of the other things has changed as well. They're not just allowing to have one medical support staff, you know what I'm saying? And the players can kind of meet with whomever they want outside those restricted areas. There's still going to be restricted areas for certain things, but outside of that, they can meet with whoever they want. And that's big, again, for the players. They can meet with their trainers, meet with their agents, move on and do so as they please. And again, the restricted areas, they're still going to have like trainers and therapists and all that stuff, but they can go meet those guys. But again, it's only going to be one at a time. So that was big. That was big for the players, for the draft guys, because again, a lot of them were threatening to boycott, and that could have been huge, especially big money for the NFL, a big money loss. So the NFL conceded on some things, Combine conceded on some things, and the agents kind of, got a little bit of what they want. They didn't get everything they wanted, but they got a little bit of what they want. But again, there's still some restricted and secured areas there where there's only can be a certain amount of people. So that was a good move. Good move for the players, because again, a lot of that could affect some draft stock there. So as we continue moving forward, again, franchise tag is getting started. It's going to impact free agency for sure. today's the day. It's the start for teams to decide whether they're going to keep a guy or let him move on with the tag. And the transition tag is happening today as well. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what's going to go on, how that's going to be maneuvered, who's going to be able to handle that with the cap, and again, how that's going to change how we attack the draft. Because if we can shore up and get some guys in here via free agency, then guess what? We got a different plan. We're going to have a very different plan going into the draft. Very different plan. Now, as we continue to move along, you look at the New York Jets linebacker position. Some situations here, man. Okay? Listen. To me, CJ Mosley and the season he had, he was phenomenal this year for us. He really was. But let me tell you, his contract is something else, bro. His contract is something else. Jeez Louise. The Jets are going to have to pretty much eat $17.5 million of his salary this year. Man, and even if we thought about cutting him, even if we tried to, it would cost us more than $20 million to cut him. This is why I am so glad that we got rid of Mike McCagnon, man. This is why I'm so happy that that guy is gone. Jeez Louise, man. I am so glad that he is gone and we have Joe Douglas in the building. Because we are now eating $17.5 million. We really don't have a choice. We truly don't, man. But I'll tell you what, he played extremely well for us last year. He's a guy that's a leader. He's a guy that I'm excited about going into next season with. We don't really have a choice, but I'm excited about going forward with him. Another linebacker that I think really had an impact last season with us as well, Quincy Williams. Quincy Williams was a guy that was signed late by Joe Douglas and was really able to make some plays here, really put on and really had an impact for us. So I like him. I like him returning as well. I'm looking to see what he does. I think a little bit later on in the season, especially when Jarrod Davis came back, things kind of bogged down because Jarrod Davis was stealing some snaps. But I tell you what, once they put Quincy back in there, he was able to do his thing. So I want to see him continue to grow, continue to do this thing within this defense. Now, Jarrod Davis is the big question because he is up, as an unrestricted free agent. So we'll see what the New York Jets do with him, if they're going to bring him back or not. There's also questions with Jamin, Sherwood, and Hamza Nezra. These are two young guys that we just took in the draft. And when you look at the rest of the draft, right, you look at the rest of the guys that were able to make an impact from this recent draft, these two guys are kind of the guys that weren't really able to do things. Again, Jamin with the torn Achilles, and then Hamza, we also seen him, have quite a bit of time on the injury list as well. There's big questions, big questions. So we're going to be discussing a lot of that tonight. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're talking about it all. I've recently got quite a bit of heat as well for being supportive of Joe Douglas. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? There's a lot of people that do not believe that Joe Douglas will be able to get a solid draft class in here to really propel the New York Jets going forward. And I want to hear from y'all because I got questions. Salute to Spin Max Dave, Nathan Colgrove. Salutes to y'all in the chat. We'll come to you. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. I call my chat the savages. Why? Because they are savage. They get after everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you got a take that they don't like, they'll let you know. Nobody's safe. Not even me. Not even me. So we're going to get to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Also, if you're watching, please give the stream a thumbs up and subscribe as well if you have not subscribed. And hit that notification bell so that when I post content, you will be in the know. First caller I'm going to, 973. 973, I'm coming directly to you. So salutes to you, my friend. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. What's going on, man? Listen, it's time to talk, man. Yeah. This linebacker position, who do you think was our best linebacker this past season, man?
No, it's a tough one. I mean, our whole, that was another one of our big problems with the linebackers. We didn't really have much to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to say that, it was all Mets. They made strides, in the later part of the season, but, for the record, our linebackers, look kind of shabby.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you have anything about with Douglas. I mean, his first season. I mean, we weren't expecting much anyway. You can't expect much, from a first-year quarterback, a first-year coach, to go all the way from, say, 3-13 to up to say 12-4 or whatever it is. But so we couldn't expect much of him anyway. That's how it usually works out with first-year coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a big surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, I've gotten so much heat just for supporting Joe Douglas and saying, hey, I think that this guy and his staff, I think his guy and his staff can definitely put some things together, especially again with all the changes that we've seen, right? All the changes that we've seen in the way that you must scout because of everything that's going on out there, and the situation that we're in right now. With all the changes that we've seen, with player contact and all this stuff, I think that Joe Douglas and his staff is so unbelievably well prepared. It's ridiculous. Even when you hear about what they were able to do at the Senior Bowl, how people talked about how professional they were and how great that they were with players, and how many of the players themselves talked about how fun they made it and how much, again, we saw players at the Senior Bowl with Jets paraphernalia on. A lot of these guys really started to believe it was like, hey, they wanted to be Jets. You know what I'm saying? It was like they really put the cool in being a Jets player, and they did so well. And again, a lot of that stuff is also allowing them to properly scout a player. I think people really often look at the athletic prowess of a player and they think that that's it. No, that's not always it. That's not always it. It's also a part of the mental stuff too. Can you coach this player properly? How does he respond to certain coaching? How does he respond to some of the other things that you will do? Does he look interested? Is he disinterested? There's a lot of questions there, a lot of questions, and I think that they answered some of those questions by properly handling themselves at the Senior Bowl.
I thought I did see some Jets merchandise at their Senior Bowl. Maybe that's going to represent a clue. But, of course, given what we've had in the past few years with our draft picks, that could be a bad omen. We've seen what we've had over the last 4 or 5 years. Every time they're going to get a good draft pick, we're going to get all the Jets memorabilia comes out, trying to represent our future quarterback, whatever. And look what it turns out to be, a bust.
Yeah. I hear you there. I mean, I look at it like this.
I'm willing to give Zach another chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, again, Zach Wilson, we're 1 year, out of it. He's a young quarterback. And that's why I warn people, if you think he's going to come in and be Aaron Rodgers, you got to change your mind. You got to switch it up. He's going to learn. He's going to learn. We saw his bumps, but we also saw him kind of step up and get better as well as the season went on, especially later in the season. He finished without throwing an interception, I think, in like 5 games. We started to see him really pick up the offense, really throw the ball, really find his playmaker. So I think we'll continue to see him grow. He has the ability. We see that he has the arm. We see that he has what it takes. He has all that stuff. He's just got to put it together. But those are the things that young quarterbacks go through. And I think and there's a lot of Jets fans that are ready to throw Zach away, and I'm not. I want to see what this kid has in year 2. Let's continue. And I think a big part of that as well is protecting him properly. Let's get him some proper protection, and then let's allow him to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be huge. But getting back to this linebacker situation, man,
protect him.
Yeah, you got to protect him. Now, when you look at this linebacker situation, what were your thoughts about Quincy Williams, man? Because he was a guy that was kind of a sneaky signing. Nobody really talked about him. He came in and really had a big impact for us.
He did. I mean, probably out of all linebackers, Williams might have been the best one. He did show some sort of promise, unlike our other linebackers up there. So I'm willing to give him a fair shake as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Williams might be, our only good line for next season, because the linebacker position was rather miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of injuries there as well. It was. There was a lot of injuries as well.
That's the problem. You have to keep your players healthy. Your linebackers, your quarterbacks, your running backs. If you're going to be nothing more than a train wreck, what have you got to go on?
Yeah. There was a lot A lot of guys getting hurt. And again, like Hamza, Nezra, Jamin, Sherwood, we saw them have their fair share of time on the injury list. Jarrod Davis at one point, missed the start of the season because he had an injury as well. So, yeah, there was a lot of injuries there at linebacker. But, as we continue to move forward, got to figure out what's going on here. Now, looking at trying to shore up some of that stuff, could you see the New York Jets swinging big to get a linebacker in free agency? Maybe a Dante or Hightower, Kaywon Alexander, maybe a Bentley, something like that?
Well, I like Hightower. Question is, can we get him, and how much do you think we can get him for?
Mm-hmm.
And who we have to dump, I mean trade, to get him?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound so harsh, but the word dump.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be guys out there. And, I know that there are some Jets fans that will look to target him. I don't know.
Hightower's good.
Yeah, he is. But I like Kaywon Alexander. Kaywon Alexander is definitely a guy that I would like to look to bring in here as well. Again, the Saints and the situation they're looking at, there's going to be a lot of guys that they're going to have to let go too that we could actually poach as well. But that's when I look at the situation. I say, well, the Jets do have quite a bit of draft capital as well to add to this football team. And there's been a lot of discussion about Nakobe Dean at the number 10 pick. This kid is phenomenal. He's a guy that's unbelievably athletic, can move around. He's a backer that really, a lot of scouts and everybody looks at and they say, hey, this kid's got it all. This kid from Georgia can absolutely do whatever it takes to be successful in this league. What are your thoughts at that? Would you like to see the New York Jets take Nakobe at 10?
At this point, I'll take anybody. I would take him because we need help.
Yeah. So my final.
I think I might need help.
Yeah. My final question for you before I let you go is: there's a lot of rumors about the Jets looking to re-sign Marcus May. What are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see him back as a New York Jet?
Marcus May as a Jet. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't too bad. I like him. I think we should keep him. But if this year isn't worth it, then you trade him. I want to give him a shot too. But if this team doesn't do anything like it was supposed to do from this season, because they have a lot of expectations, I say you got clear some room.
Yeah.
Because the more they get into, it's one thing when you're a rookie or a second year and you have to develop, but if you're just going to be, a trash heap year after year, something's got to be done. And if he doesn't perform this year, I say give him the hook.
Yeah. I mean, he's
give him the hook.
Yeah, he's coming off that injury, but I definitely think, again, if you can bring him back because of what he has.
Yeah, another injury.
Yeah, what he has and what he brings to the table, I'd like to see him. But again, I don't want to see us overspend for Marcus May either, though. I really don't, and I don't think we will. I think that if we can work out a deal. I think that maybe $10 to $11 million range is where I think we should get him at. But if he wants way more over that, then I think it's time for us to move on. So yeah, I mean,
think maybe like $7 to $8 million is fair enough.
Whoa, I don't know if you'll get him for that, but we'll see. Listen, man. I mean, Joe Douglas is going to work his magic, and we all know that if Joe wants a guy and he wants to keep you, he's going to find a way. But we've seen him really take this franchise to a different place, and again, so confident in him as well because his ability to draft, I think, is huge too. So even if guys do walk away into free agency, I think he'll be able to replace them with some guys that would be adequate starters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. And again, I want to thank him for calling in. Listen, there's going to be a lot of question marks again, especially with the franchise tag being placed on a lot of these players that we're looking to target. We're going to see what happens. There's a lot of people that want to target, Marcus Williams as well in free agency. A lot of Jets fans talking about that constantly. We'll see what happens going forward. But before we get going to the next caller, I want to thank Leon S. Kennedy for the big donation. Again, I want to thank Leon S. Kennedy with the big donation, man. Listen, salutes to Leon. Leon says, hey, Joe, I'm in Texas now and time to support the channel some more. God bless you. Thank you so much, man. Salutes to you, Leon. It's always good to see you in here. We have a lot of fun. Salutes, man. Good to see you back, and I hope you're doing well wherever you're at. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you at, I hope you're doing well. A guy in Texas making it happen. Salutes to you, Leon. Also, Spin Max Dave as well. Salutes to you. He says, are there any Jets players worth a franchise tag? The thing is I don't think there is. I mean, the only guy I think, a lot of people would suspect that we would franchise tag is we franchised Marcus May last year, but I don't think that they'll do that again. Braxton Berrios is a guy that's definitely a must resign for us, but I mean, Joe Douglas is definitely not going to franchise tag him. He doesn't even want to pay him reportedly close to the $9 million that he's looking for. So I'm thinking, no, not at this point. I don't think there's any guys that we could look to franchise tag, but I'm telling you, the franchise tag is definitely going to have an impact on how we have to walk into free agency and who we're going to be able to get. Because there's some players that I'm very concerned about is going to get that franchise tag that may get away from us. Hassan Riddick is one of them. I really like that guy, but I feel like, they're going to slap that tag on him. So we'll see what happens going forward, especially with that, again, being available so far. So we're going to get back to the lines. Again, 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Next, I'm going to my guy, Steve, man.
Okay.
Salutes to you, Steve. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Steve, we're talking, man. We're talking NFL. We're talking Combine. We're talking about it all. What are your thoughts about the NFL Combine bubble? What are your thoughts about how the NFL kind of conceded a little bit to some of the things that the agents and trainers and players wanted?
Hey, Joe. Well, first off, thank you again for having me on your show, man. It's always great to talk to you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thank you for calling in, man.
Hey, so, no, listen, the thing about the NFL Combine is, and listen, the world has been getting a lot better, in the last year and a half. But, unfortunately, in some situations, there are still parts in this world right now when we do have to wear the mask, unfortunately.
Yep.
But, the NFL Combine, I think this year just wants to keep it safe because, remember, we couldn't really have a combine a couple of years ago when it first started back in 2020. Then in 2021, they wanted to wait another year until when it was time for another combine. But now this year they're finally going to do it again. But they just want to keep it safe, We don't want to take a chance, again with what's going on all over the world. Like you said, not going to really get into it too much, but. We just got to keep the players safe, Yeah. You made some good points about Joe tonight, how you were talking about the linebacker position. I mean, listen, C.J. Mosley, without a doubt, was our best linebacker last year. Yeah. But I think one of the best pickups we had last year was when we got Quincy Williams' brother, Quincy Williams, from Jacksonville. I don't know how the Jaguars let him go and the Jets right away. Yeah. Let me tell you something. I think one thing I love about Quincy Williams, he is fast. He can hit. I'll never forget one of the first games of the year that I watched him play. The second game of the year, even though we got killed by New England in our home opener, there was one play in the game I remember when Quincy Williams light up James White on one play in the game. I don't know if you remember that hit. He drilled him. Yeah. Let me tell you, that is something that I want our linebackers to do, like what Quincy Williams can do. He's a hard hitter and he's fast. Now, the other thing is, because one of the goals that we got to do on our defensive side of the ball, we talked about before how the offense has to be built around Zach Wilson. We need to get a defense to be built around C.J. Mosley because, listen, last year there were times where C.J. Mosley had to do everything on the field. And everybody all thinks that C.J. Mosley sucks. Let me tell you something. C.J. Mosley does not suck. Last year, without a doubt, he was our best defensive player on the team last year. Now, I'm not saying he was a Pro Bowl caliber, but he was our best defensive player.
Yeah. No, yeah. Listen, Steve, you're spitting facts right now. This defense definitely does need to be improved. There's definitely some areas that we could target to really get it to the next level. As we all know, the defense was not very good, this year. But I think the biggest addition that needs to be, placed within this defense for me is pass rush. I think that's the biggest problem. And again, even with, Carl Lawson coming back, I don't think that's necessarily going to be enough. I think the New York Jets should look to target multiple pass rushers, bring them in here, whether it be in free agency. Again, I love Hassan Riddick. Jerry Hughes is a guy that could be out there as well. A veteran guy that you can bring in for the rotation. There's other guys that could be out there as well. I think you have to target some guys and bring them in here so that we can get after the quarterback, so that we can send pressure without having to constantly send blitzes. Because again, this is a passing league, and if you cannot get to the quarterback, you're going to have a long day defensively.
Yeah, no, Joe, now here's the thing. I know we spoke about the pass rusher before from Oregon. What was his name again?
Kaywon Thibodeau.
Yeah, I can just say his first name, Kaywon. I just can't say his last name. But there's another pass rusher that I want to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, here is the thing. I think as of right now, he is going to be the second overall pick of the draft. But there's another pass rusher I want to talk to you about, and that's the guy from Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Aiden Hutchinson, Joe, but he is another pass rusher that the Jets could use. Mm-hmm. And let me just tell you something, because I watch a lot of Big Ten football. I mean, I'm a Rutgers fan, okay, and I watch Big Ten football a lot. And let me tell you something. That I remember watching Aiden Hutchinson play during the season. The guy is an animal on the field. And I think, Joe, if he is available at number 4, which I don't think he will be, he would be a player I would look at too.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely is, a guy that we should look at, but I just don't think he's going to be there. I mean, everybody, pretty much has him going either. I've heard 1 overall before. I've definitely heard him going to the Lions. I don't think he'll slide down to 4. I think the Lions is where he's going to go to because, Joe, he is from Michigan, Joe, and obviously he went to Michigan. Mm-hmm. I think it would make a lot of sense if he ends up going to the Lions. And I think, Joe, that is going to be the team where he's going to go to. But, I mean, hey, listen, if he was available, Joe, at number 4, I would take him, but I don't think he's going to be there. And listen, other positions, in the draft that we talked about too at number 4. Wait a second, Steve. Hold on a second. But there's a lot of talk about, and you talked about Kaywon Thibodeau as well. There's a lot of people that have him at 4 now. There's a lot of people talking about him sliding to 4. I know you talked about Aiden Hutchinson, but Kaywon could be there. But also you got to think, Steve, as well, is that not only do we have the number 4 pick in the first round, we also have the number 10 pick as well. So there's guys that we could also get down at that 10 pick that could definitely help us out too, at pass rusher. There's been a lot of talk about Jermaine Johnson. There's been a lot of talk about David Obago. Like there's a lot of guys that could help, within our situation that could really help us at edge.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. But now, Joe, here is a question I want to talk to you about. And let's say the Jets don't re-sign Marcus May, right? Mm-hmm. And we're stuck at the safety position, and we don't really pick up the safety during free agency. Here is my question to you. Let's say Kyle Hamilton is still available at number 10. Mm-hmm. Would you take him at number 10 if he was available? Not at number 4, but at number 10.
I mean, if he's available at number 10, he is a great safety. I mean, the value there, I guess, yeah, I could see us taking him at 10. I could absolutely see that. I would do it. But I just doubt that he's going to be there. And again, it really would depend on who we would take it for, too. That would really impact that decision. But if he's at 10, I don't see how they wouldn't do that. Especially, hold on a second, Steve. I don't see Joe Douglas passing on him at 10 if he's there at 10. But I just doubt that he's there.
Yeah, no. But obviously now, Joe, you talk about like the situation that you spoke about with your staff, that you spoke about Joe Douglas and his staff. Let me tell you something. This is finally a staff in the front office that we can finally trust. Mm-hmm. Back then, when we had Mike McCagnon as our GM for 4.5 years, I'll never forget when he first came to the team. I remember a lot of Jets fans really liked him at the beginning, and I remember you were okay with him at the beginning, but then we got to see his bad side. Like I just remember, all the draft picks that Mike McCagnon would do. You know how many of those players are not in the NFL anymore? At least 90% of those players that he drafted are not even in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, obviously there were a few players, though, that we, I mean, obviously, you know, the only player now that we really have that's still technically from his draft class is Quincy Williams. But then, you know, obviously Marcus May was still on the team, but we don't know where he's going to be, you know, going into free agency. But you know something, Joe? Comparing to Joe Douglas and Mike Maccagnan, I would have Joe Douglas in a heartbeat with where the team is at now. Because obviously, Mike Maccagnan is another one of the reasons why we were set back for so many years.
Yeah,
because the guy didn't know how to draft.
No, not only did he not know how to draft, Steve, but he also signed a lot of horrific deals in free agency to try to cover up for his inability to draft. I know we're talking about C.J. Mosley, who's a phenomenal linebacker for us, right? Who played very well. But no, there's no way he's worth $17.5 million this upcoming season. That's a deal that was signed by Mike Maccagnan. If we try to get rid of him, we eat $20 million, which is not going to happen, so he's going to be here. But does anybody remember Tremaine Johnson? That was another deal.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That was
Joe,
Mike Maccagnan as well. Does anybody not remember that?
One of the worst.
That
Here was
dude,
the thing,
one
Joe,
of the. Hold on a second, Steve. Hold on a second. One of the worst deals that we've seen signed. One of the biggest free agency busts that we've ever seen. Again, when you go into free agency, especially bringing in corners, you already taking a chance. But then you give him the type of contract that Mike Maccagnan gave him. And that guy never did anything. He was a complete bum here for us. And that impacted us even after he was gone because he was still on the books for some years. His money was still there. So that tied up a lot of the resources that we could have utilized to better this football team up in free agency. We were in cap. Had so many issues. Mike Maccagnan, I think, had over $300 million to fix this football team throughout his tenure and just blew it all. He had so many bad signings. He had so many bad draft picks. It was insane. Remember, his whole first draft class had pretty much busted out. He was busting out of mid-rounds. He passed on so many good players to draft bums. It was insane. He passed on Alvin Kamara to draft Stewart and Hansen. It was insane, Steve. Go ahead, man.
I'll never get.
Oh, God.
Hey, Joe, remember when he drafted Christian Hackenberg?
Oh, my God. In the second round, Steve.
I know.
He took him in the second round. With Cody Whitehair sitting right there, he took Christian Hackenberg in the second round. It's insane.
Wait, who did you say? Who did he pass up on?
I loved Cody Whitehair coming out of the draft. And I said, if this kid's in the second round, we got to take him. He's a guard center, all right? We got to take him. He's got to protect him. He passed on him to draft Christian Hackenberg. Get out of here, Mike Maccagnan. This guy's a bum. He was a bum, Steve. He was a damn bum, man.
Joe.
Oh.
No, Joe. That, to me, out of all the draft picks that Mike Maccagnan had, I thought that was the worst pick he ever had. And at first I was like, wait, why did we pick a quarterback if we already had three other quarterbacks on the roster?
Oh my
and
Lord,
I even said that to myself because that was when we had Fitzpatrick and Geno Smith and Bryce Petty.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make any sense at all. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. It was a good thing he never saw the field. And then, okay, now listen. Here was the thing, Joe. I agree with you. Joe.
He never saw the field. Christian Hackenberg never did anything here. He did nothing. A second round pick that folded like a lawn chair. That guy was awful. We should have never have drafted him, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, but Joe.
The bad memories is just coming.
Because here was the thing, Joe.
Go ahead, Steve.
If you were now, obviously, from the other drafts that we have, let me tell you something. I have more trust now in Joe Douglas, and then especially with Robert Saleh, the coaching staff. And let me tell you something. All of the college players that played for the Jets coaching side for the Senior Bowl, they said so many tremendous things about the Jets coaching staff.
Yep.
And you know something? Let me tell you something. One of the other coaching staff that I like, I know we don't really talk about him a lot. I love Rob Middleton of how he gets the team prepared. Yeah. When he had a coach for the game against Jacksonville, when Saleh was out with, why we wear masks in the world. I'm not going to say it because it's your show. I'm going to respect your orders.
Thank you, Steve.
Going to respect your orders.
Salutes.
But you know something? The way how he coached it, and I remember his locker room speech before the game, that was absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got – and you know something? A lot of people, even a lot of NFL analysis were even saying how the New York Jets coaching staff is very, very, very well respected.
Yeah.
They did say some good things about the Lions coaching staff, but they even said that they were impressed with the Jets coaching staff. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you something. This is a coaching staff that I do believe, Joe, that is finally a team going in the direction. Not Todd Bowles' coaching staff, not crazy eyes Adam Gase coaching staff. Finally, a coaching staff that we have that will be well respected.
Yeah, absolutely. They will be, Steve. And even going back, because we're talking about these linebackers tonight, there's guys that could end up hitting free agency. And I think that that's going to be an impact on them as well is, hey, can this coaching staff really lure guys in? Do people want to look around and say, hey, Robert Saleh is a guy that I absolutely want to play for. So when you look around at some of the free agent linebackers that could be out there, what are some of the guys that you're looking at that you think the New York Jets could target and actually get?
Well, I haven't really gotten to pay attention to who the linebackers are in free agency because, I've looked at a lot of other players too. I never really got a chance to study who the linebackers are going into free agency.
What about a guy like Jawan Bentley or even like Dante Hightower? Or what about Kaywon Alexander? What are your thoughts about that?
Alexander is the guy from Buffalo, right?
No, Alexander is the guy. That's the guy from New Orleans Saints.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of the other guy. Mm-hmm. No, I would like to have him on the team. And the Saints are in a tough situation with their cap space, and he would be a linebacker I would look at. But the thing is, I want linebackers to come to this team. If we're going to sign a linebacker, they have to fit in Saleh's system and an Ulbricht system as well.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. That is the key thing. You got to make sure the player fits in the system. And especially when it comes time to the draft, you got to make sure that they fit into the system. Because if they fit in the system, we could be going in the right direction. Now, the thing is, though, Joe, we still have a few more weeks left to go, before free agency hits. We're going to see what's going to happen, though. But let me tell you something. This is finally hope. Even after a 4-13 season we had last year, this is, I think, finally a season coming up where we could see some high momentum. I'm not saying any record prediction yet right now, but this is, I think, finally a chance for our team to go in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to talk about record predictions. It's very early, actually. Again, the teams are not looking the same as they would look when the season's open. But I'm as fired up as you, Steve. I'm hyped up because, like you said, I think that we finally have a front office and a staff that is on one accord. We finally have a front office and a staff.
Out of it.
Exactly, and they will.
Away.
And they will. But again, I think we finally have a staff that has it together. We got a general manager that understands how to scout. He's not going to get fleeced. He's not going to take advantage of. We have a coaching staff that people are excited about, not just us, but other players as well. Players around the league. We've seen it. Once we hired Robert Saleh, we saw players come out. Richard Sherman, all these other guys talk about how great he was and how they're excited about him, not just as a coach, but as a man. All those things. Yeah, Fred Warner, all those guys came out and talked about, how great he was going to be. So we've got all these guys that are so respected. Hold on a second, Steve. We got all these guys that are so respected around, and not only are they just respected, they know their stuff. And they're going to turn things around and get us in the right direction. So I'm right there with you, Steve. I'm excited about this offseason as well. Hey, I'm excited about the direction and where we're going. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Joe. So one last thing I'll say before I go. Remember when Fred Warner, before the season this past year in 2021, when he signed a contract extension with the 49ers, you know what was the first thing he did after he got his big contract extension with the 49ers? He thanked Robert Saleh.
Yeah. I mean, Sulla helped a lot of guys
Robert
over there.
Saleh was the reason why he got his contract extension.
Yeah.
And, I remember what during last year, Joe, the other thing I'm going to say this. Remember when Robert Saleh spoke to the media about, like when the media asked him, like, why is it that you guys are in a tough position right now, with the young team and all that stuff? You know what Robert Saleh said in that press conference? He spoke about the 2017 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
And, that 49ers team was not that good that year. Because they were a rebuilding team that year. He spoke about how each year they developed and rebuilt. And Robert Saleh compared our season of 2021 to when he was in San Francisco in 2017. And Fred Warner was part of that team at the beginning. And when Fred Warner, a few years after, got his contract extension, which he just did this past year, the first person he thanked was Robert Saleh.
Yeah,
Saleh was the main reasons why he got his extension.
And Sulla's talked about that as well, Steve. When he got here, he was talking about how, hey, I want to make sure that it's an environment where players buy in because they know that I want them to win. I want to put you in a position where you make plays and you get the most money that you possibly can. He talked about that, ensuring players get paid what they're worth and putting them in positions to do that, Steve.
Joe, that beginning press conference, when he had his first press conference to the media, when he was introduced as the head coach, Joe, it was one of the best press conferences I ever watched a Jets head coach. One of the best opening press conferences I ever saw, because he understood where the Jets were the last few years, of how they were a losing organization and how he wanted to change it and how he wants to make sure to help, because the one thing he understands also too of what the fans have gone through. I am hoping, Joe, that this thing goes in the right direction going for the next season coming up. But we're going to see what happens. Right now, it's February 22nd right now. The season just ended a week and a half ago. Now we're going to see what happens. But, Joe, exciting things are going to be at the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's a fact, Steve. That's an absolute fact. And listen, I want to thank Steve for coming on tonight. He absolutely spit the fire. He spit pure fire. It's hard to stop him. He was bringing takes. You know what I'm saying? Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. But, I mean, a lot of what Steve said was factual. You talk about this linebacker position. You talk about some of the pieces that need to be added. There's a lot, that we can do to really up it. Again, a guy like Jarrod Davis going into free agency, I think that we should look to re-sign him. He's a guy that we could bring back that can continue to have some impact there. But I'll tell you what, Quincy Williams sliding over into that spot and taking over, I wouldn't have no issues with it whatsoever. And again, I think when you look at free agency, because, the franchise tag is going to be there, we'll see who's going to be available. But a guy like Kaywon Alexander could come in here and really have a big impact for us. I think he's a guy that we should definitely look at. But again, in the draft, Nakobe Dean, you could see Nakobe Dean at 10. You could see it. That kid's phenomenal. Kid from Georgia, he's flying around. He'll make it happen. But there was a lot of discussion about what we should do it for as well. I've gone back and forth with a lot of people, and salutes to all the savages in the chat too, going back and forth. Listen, there was a lot of people talking about, hey, taking Hamilton at 4, Kyle Hamilton. Salutes to NY Jets FL. He talked about that too, taking Kyle Hamilton at 4, taking Sauce at 10. I could see that. I could absolutely see that. My whole deal is this. My only thing against taking Kyle Hamilton at 4 is I think that's too high to take a safety because we need so much more. And I know people love him. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a good player. But I'm just hesitant to do that. I need impact players at impact positions. I need a pass rusher. I need another offensive lineman. I need that. I need to protect my quarterback. I need to make sure that I can get after the quarterback as well. And I just think that taking a safety that high, it's too damn high for a non-impact position on a rebuilding team when we need to get after it. So I love the kid. I'm telling you, I love him. I think he's phenomenal. I hate the school that he plays for. Okay? I hate the school that he plays for. Jeez Louise. When will college just delete that team? Can we do that? Just delete that team that he plays for. You know, move him somewhere else. He's a phenomenal player. But come on. We cannot take a safety that high, guys. I'm sorry. Sauce Gardner, good corner, though. I will say that. He's a guy that we could end up taking, especially if we don't end up taking a corner in free agency. That's a name to keep up with. So salutes. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're talking Jets. We're talking linebackers. We're talking it all. And now I'm going to go to my dude, Venom G's. Listen, for those of you that do not know who Venom G's is, okay? For those of you that don't know, let me tell you something. He is a savage. My God, he's a savage. Boy's a damn savage. Don't play around with Venom, bro. Play with something safe. That's what I always tell people.
Yo.
Salutes, Venom. Salutes.
Yo, what's happening?
Venom, listen, we talking Jets tonight. Steve then came up here and gave us a couple minutes of heat. I mean, he gave us some heat right there. Salutes to all the callers. I'm going to get to all of y'all. Steve gave us some heat, though. All right? So when you look at the situation right now with the New York Jets linebackers, give me your thoughts about who you thought was the best linebacker for us this season. Who impressed you the most?
Gosh, I got to go with Steve. I think it's CJ. And right behind CJ, Quincy Williams, man. Mm-hmm. That dude's a flyer. He can hit. He's a dog out there. Mm-hmm. So I think he's, but I agree with you too. We need to, get a few more, linebackers in there. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't mind bringing in an old face, from them Saints that we drafted, and Jarrod Davis. What you think about that, Joe?
Whoa. There's people talking about, I've heard some Jets fans talking about that. See, Venom be trying to show up. I've heard Jets fans talk about that. Here's the deal, all right? And I want to be very clear about this. Has he gone over there and performed extremely well? Absolutely. But I don't want to try to romanticize, DeMario too much, because when he was here, you was watching, I was watching, we was watching, okay?
Yeah.
He was not that good. He was not that good. Now, coming here, I don't know. It depends on, what he would be looking for. It depends on also the fit within our defense, because I know that he's kind of been moved around a little bit over there, but I'm not necessarily against it, but I don't know, kind of what he would be asking for. You know what I'm saying? Like what exactly kind of deal that he's looking for. And again, the Saints are going to be getting rid of guys left and right because of their cap situation.
I know. And I don't think, we're at a position to take somebody 15, 16 like the Saints did over there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be tough, but I like who we have in place right now. Mm-hmm. I think we have a good, middle linebacker, one good outside linebacker. We need to fill in the other positions. So I don't know, man. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on when you look at this linebacking core? One of the things that I was surprised by, right? Because we saw so much impact from so many of the rookies, right? We saw so many rookies be able to give us impact immediately from this recent draft. We saw Elijah Vera-Tucker give us immediate impact, Elijah Moore, the list goes on. Michael Carter, who just absolutely was balling for us for a while. But then when you look at some of the guys defensively as well, we saw some impact from them, the guys later on in the draft, right? We saw the corner that we took. He went out there and put on the other side of Bryce Hall. We saw him go out there and perform pretty well. But Hamza, Nezra and Jamin Sherwood, these two young guys that we've converted now to linebacker, we didn't see much from them. What were your thoughts about that? Watching the rest of the class have some impact and them not having much. Do you have big question marks for them going into next season?
No, I don't think we should have, because a position change is tough, man. And just even when you draft them as knowing that there's safety and you want them to come in, and then the techniques, the hand skills to the way they have to attack, who they're responsible for. It's a lot of, requirements that you ask them to do. It's not like they've been doing this since they were in high school or junior high school, came through the ranks. It's like a whole new, element for them. So it's going to be tough. So once they get into a little bit more practice, I think they'll be fine. But, they have to see more game playing time. You see them, they got in the beginning part of the season, they got hurt. And then, they were out for a while. And then we got comfortable with just trying to see who has what. Mm-hmm. So I think this year they have to come in and step up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think with CJ there and Quincy being there, they should make some leaps and bounds from where they were last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, they both saw quite a bit of time on the injury list. I think it was Jamin Sherwood was the guy that tore his Achilles. He was on IR. Yeah. We saw Hamza Nezra. He spent some time on IR as well. I'm just hoping that those guys can come back and be healthy because, like you said as well, for them to really turn things around next season, they got to be on the field, dude. Like, if you can't get on the field and be healthy, then there's not much that we could talk about. You know what I'm saying? Your best ability is availability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to me, I would have played smart ball. And if I had Marcus May out, and I have a shaky Aston Davis, I would have put them back in their original position and say, guys, go do what y'all do. But we don't run the team. We just say, okay, you drafted 2 safeties, converted them into linebackers. Why not? If you have a loophole somewhere, why wouldn't you say go back to the position and then see how that works out? Yeah. Then what they did was take, a cornerback and put him at safety, and he did a damn good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, let me tell you something. We had so many injuries defensively. It was insane. But like you said, it was crazy to see Sulla be able to kind of mix and match a scratch and scratch. I remember Jarrod Wilson. They brought him in and just made him and say they were bringing guys off the street at one point and just putting them in safety. You know what I'm saying? And those guys were able to perform in those situations. Yeah. Now, talking about this safety situation, there's a lot of rumors, Venom. There's a lot of talk about the New York Jets are looking to re-sign Marcus May. What are your thoughts about that, man? Because there's some Jets fans that are like, I don't give a damn, just move on from this guy. And then there's other Jets fans saying, hey, I'm ready to bring him back. Give me your thoughts, man.
I'm all for Marcus, man. He's been the longest tenured guy in this group here. Mm-hmm. So I believe he should be paid. I don't think that he should take less money from this team because they've been messing with him so much. I think he deserves to be paid. I wouldn't mind re-signing him because he does a great job out there, eliminating deep plays and things like that. So what you would pay somebody in free agency, you could give it to this man, and he knows the system already. He's familiar with it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind giving him, a contract, man. I think he deserves it. He played his butt off, and he's been on the squad for so long, so I don't mind Marcus May signing with the team.
Here's my question.
I like the devil you know than the devil that you don't know, man. We may come in. We may come in, and then we may get another Johnson situation at the quarterback. So I like keeping the players that we know than the players we don't know. Or they may, so I just like that.
Yeah.
Just Marcus is a good dude. I think he's been playing ball when the other dude we're not even going to mention him, the other dude was screaming and wilding and calling out people. Marcus kept his head down, mouth shut. Marcus stayed right where he rolled with us. He said, "Dude, you want to do that? That's good, but I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna help turn this around."
Yeah.
And just for us, as a fan base, we can't just say, "Yo, get rid of everybody," because we're not even letting them see the promised land with us, man.
But my question is this though, Venom, and you talking about bringing him back, and I just want to play devil's advocate because you said the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Okay. The question is, Marcus. It's not just money though, Venom, but character questions, because everybody's acting like he didn't have a secret DUI brewing before all this stuff happened. Let me bring you back a couple of steps.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that there was a time where him and his agent were going crazy everywhere? His agent was going off on social media constantly, and then out of nowhere, boom, we find out that Marcus May had gotten a DUI and was found drunk in his car with throw up on him. Does anybody remember that? Does anybody remember that there were reports that the New York Jets knew nothing about it and the NFL didn't either, and that's why it wasn't reported? Does anybody remember that? I'm just saying, when you talk about resigning him, and I love Marcus May. I'm just, let me set the table. Let me set the table, Venom. Now, I love Marcus May. I'm going to preference that with saying.
Don't draw no precautions, man. Don't draw no precautions.
All I'm saying is.
In between the white lines.
All I'm saying is, Venom, I'm asking you the question is that with all that had gone on, how can you give him the type of money that he's possibly going to be asking for without wondering about his character a little bit, Venom? Give me your thoughts on that, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Is that coming into play?
It's tough, man, but I think it's tough, and I think it's, just for me, if I was in a position where, I think my general manager is saying, yeah, we got to make him a long-term, piece of this picture. He's going to be the number one guy, and you're jerking me around some type of way, and me and my attorney trying to get this done, and my agent's trying to get this done. I think I would feel a type of way, and I think he feels a type of way, and he doesn't care anymore to be like, yo, all right, until this contract gets done, I can't do nothing about it but show up here and act a fool. I think he just went out ahead of, he made a mistake. I think we all could, bounce back from mistakes and things like that. So I can't, I don't want to, let that be his lasting image that we have of him. Because I know we all make mistakes. We all have the right to bounce back from it. So I think one bad, situation shouldn't determine how we look at him or if we should give him his money from what he's done on the field. I think he could correct that. Robert Saleh and the team will help him, make better decisions. But I think we need to look at what he's doing on the field. And if he could, he can produce, the way we need him to.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear that, Venom, and I feel kind of the same way. I just gotta ask. I gotta ask these questions. We looking. We got Quincy out here doing the same thing too. We over here gathering. So we have some things with these guys on our squad that we, they're not old choir boys. So we just got to give them a little bit of leeway. They're just all young dudes, So we got to give them a little bit of, rope to get back in and get back into the position they need to be there. No, yeah. Listen, I hear you. Now, when you look at the defense, we're going back to it. Let me tell you something. I've taken a lot of heat recently for being a pretty big supporter of Joe Douglas and what he's trying to do here. Venom. I've had people, I've gone back and forth with a lot of people. And then I say, well, okay, if you look at some of the moves that he's been able to make, some of the guys he's brought in that have had impact with us, right? You look at the draft picks. You look at our recent draft. Michael Carter in the fourth, like I talked about, moving up, basically giving up peanuts for the best, left guard in the draft, and Elijah Vera Tucker, and getting Elijah Moore in the second round, and all these things that we've seen, getting rid of Jamal Adams for 2 first-round picks. It's just like you can name these things. Now, one of the things that we're seeing, we talked about C.J. Mosley earlier, the Jets are going to eat $17.5 million from him this year. If we try to get rid of him, it's going to move up to $20 million if we try to cut him in dead money. Doesn't things like that make you appreciate Joe Douglas? Aren't you so glad that we have moved out of the dark ages of Mike McCagnon, and now we have a legitimate general manager here that doesn't do stupid things?
Yeah, and I agree with everything Joe Douglas is doing, because we were throwing money away like we had it like that. Look at the Le'Veon contract that then, oh my God. I just
Oh,
think
my
all
Lord.
the moves that they were making was just horrible, man.
Yeah.
And then you give Le'Veon all this money and get rid of him 2 seasons later. Like, it just makes no sense. So they have somebody frugal, like, you know, and just like Joe Douglas, and just say, yo, come here on a 1-year deal. Show us what you got. Let us know that you're worthy of that big contract. I think that speaks volumes for a lot of players. And if you bet on yourself and you know you that dude, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, cool. Instead of us throwing a bunch of money out the window and then getting no return on our investment. That's horrible. And that's what we did numerous times before with numerous trash players. So
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic we're in a different place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am too. I mean, again, I am so glad that we have a general manager that seems to have a plan, and we finally have a franchise that seems to be in order, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not a bunch of nonsense like we saw going on when Mike McCagnon was here. That was awful. Now, as we continue to talk about this linebacker position, you got Jarrod Davis. He's going in free agency. He looks like he's going to be, you know, unrestricted free agent. Give me your thoughts about him, man, and do you think the New York Jets should look to re-sign him?
No, I don't think so. At this point, I think you got to slide one of these young guys that were drafted to play the position, fill them into that position. Let Jarrod Davis go and have these young guys step up. It's now or never. We can't have them on the roster just wait until their 5th-year option and see what they are. That's what we did with Sam Darnold. We put him in, but we couldn't see what the hell he was because we didn't put the pieces around him to see what he could be. You know, so all we have these guys doing is sitting on the back burner. No, we need to throw them in there. Throw them in the fire, see how they react to it. And you have 2 guys back there, you know, and I'm a firm believer that we should have Quincy Williams starting, and then Mosley starting, and one of these young guys on the other side starting. So however they want to do it, but they got to catch up quick. They got to make their mistakes, take their licks, and start developing quickly because we need them.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, when you look at the linebacker position as well, Venom, listen, there's some options there in the draft too, and there's a lot of things starting to brew about, especially within the Jets fan base, talking about taking Kobe Dean at number 10. Would you be against that?
Joe, remember a couple of phone calls ago, I told you about this kid, Kobe Dean. I said, this kid is a beast. I like everything about him. I like his DNA. I like how he holds everybody on the team accountable. He doesn't mind getting in the faces of his players. Just like, what were you doing back there? He sets everybody up. That would be a great. I would feel great with it, but not at that 10 spot. I think we need. It's not at the 10 spot. I couldn't pick the Kobe at that 10 spot. We have too many holes. You know, on the offensive line right now, I would go offensive line, depending what we do at 4. If Thibodeau's at 4, then I have to go offensive line at 10, or even trade back. Those are the only 2 options for me at this point. But Kobe, he's a great player. You know, let him go someplace else, but we need to stick to the plan and get this team developed correctly first.
Yeah, and I know we definitely had a lot of discussions about the draft, and again, there's been a lot of things stirred up about taking Hamilton at 4. What are your thoughts about that, man? What are your thoughts about fans that want to take Kyle Hamilton at 4? How are you feeling about it?
Oh, man, the safety, man. Don't tell me this. We back in safety. What we talking about, man? What we talking about, man? We could get a safety in the free agency, man. We could get a safety in the later rounds. What are we talking about a safety at 4 when we have so many issues in the front line and on the defensive line? Why are we talking about safety, the back end? And we saw this with Jamal Adams. We saw this already. We've been down this road already. You know, let's do something different. I understand people saying this dude is elite. You know, we don't need elite right now. We need somebody with a high IQ that understands what's going on in the back end. I don't need nobody that's elite. I don't need you coming down in the box, hitting nobody, tackling nobody. I just need a safety back there that knows what they're supposed to cover and know how to tackle somebody and not throw their shoulder into them and have them bounce off them. I need somebody that can wrap up, short tackle person with a high IQ. I don't need a young guy back there. You know, not right now. We don't need that. We've been down that road already. You know, we just came off a couple of years ago. We just got Jamal and Marcus in the same draft class. What we doing? That sounds crazy, man.
I mean, you know, you look at that safety position again. I think he's phenomenal. But I've had, you know, people call in, and not just this show, but in the past as well, that are advocating. There's, you know, salute to all the savages in the chat. There's people in there saying, "Hey, I want Kyle Hamilton at 4." That's what they want, and I understand that, you know, he's talented. I understand he's phenomenal, but I just, I can't. I just don't see with all the issues. Go ahead. You know, I'll give you your time. Go ahead.
Name me one safety that changed the trajectory of the game that you could name in the last 10 years that, you know, I don't, that could change the aspect of the game.
There's not one safety. There's not one safety that's going to drag you to a Super Bowl. There's not one safety that's going to drag you to a Super Bowl at all. But there's, you know,
and I'm these people talking like that. Like, if you saying that much at number 4, that has to be done. I could say I saw Von Miller destroy a game in the Super Bowl when he was going. I saw this with my eyes. That's a pass rusher. That's a position, a needed position we have right now. That's a positional need we have. And we got, is we're at number 4 and Thibodeau's there? No, you know, Joe, I told you I'm running up there from my apartment and I'm giving them the card, my damn. From the LBC, Joe, you better throw that card in.
Dude, listen. If that happens, dude, I will drive. I'm driving directly there. I don't know how fast I gotta drive. I don't care if I gotta go to LAX, hop on a flight. I'm taking the card myself. Okay, I'm taking the card myself. I'm sorry. If Thibodeau is there, I don't know why some people have backed off of him, but I'm all in. If Kaywon Thibodeau is there, listen, you take him right there.
No. Yeah, I you know, I'm seeing these predictions for an offensive lineman at 4. I would rip that card out of this person's hand, write Thibodeau on it, and back to them. This is who we going with, man.
Yeah.
Because this is, you know, you can't let that type of guy go, man. I haven't seen, we saw, and I know we just spoke about this last week, we saw what happened where that offensive line isn't good and that pass rusher comes up. That you know, we saw what happened in this past Super Bowl. Von Miller did his thing, and Aaron Donald did his thing. And we need some of that. We need that pressure up front. We need that pressure from the edge. So we could have a decent cornerbacks and decent safeties back there with that pressure coming from the front. And that's what we need to develop and build. And I agree totally with you. If we in the free agency, we got to get a pass rusher or 2 in that. I think 1 or 2 in the draft as well. So I totally agree with you. We've been going through the same thing for years. And I think we need to double up on everything.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you, Venom. I'm right there with you. You spitting nothing but hot fire. You know what I'm saying? Let's give Venom a round of applause, because his takes have been hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Not too much.
Whoa. Not too much, studio audience.
We don't pay them.
Yeah, I don't. They just doing too much. Yeah, they was trying to, really go too far for you. And I like you, Venom, but I'm like,
make minimum wage back there.
Yeah, that's not how you. Whoa, guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely not coming out of pocket for those extra claps. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that's not happening. You know what I mean? So, but my final question before I let you go, Venom, because you've had some hot takes here, is when you look at free agency and you look at Joe Douglas, a lot of general managers in the past we've had, almost. It's always, well, we're almost going to sign a guy, or we had him in the door, but we couldn't land the deal. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. We couldn't make sure that this guy was a Jet. Do you think that Joe Douglas will walk into this free agency and be able to close deals? How confident are you in him as a general manager to get deals done?
I'm confident. We saw at the beginning of it last year. Mm-hmm. So he should be able to, seal a lot more deals this year, just because everybody around the league see how we're building this team and how the players we have around right now. We got Corey Davis, the number 2 wide receiver from Tennessee. And then we get one of the best pass rushers in Carl Lawson. So people have to see that, and if you're a competitor and you want the challenge, you're going to come here. Joe Douglas is going to sell that. We just saw how the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, and we're going to try to emulate all that. Just say, hey, listen, this is a chance that we have. You have a quarterback that is, ready to ascend, and we just need you guys there to help us get there. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, if you have all the time, we saw this defense. If you have all the time in the world, you can pick them apart. Man. If you're always on the field, you can pick people apart. Watching our defense this year was just like, okay, once I saw, what was happening after the first 4 games, the rest of the season was just like, okay, they're just going to pick us apart, go down the field. Every time you got the ball, it's a touchdown. Every time you have the possession, it's a touchdown. And the defense was just horrible this year. And we have to get that side of the ball, secured up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely got to fix that. Listen, Venom, I want to thank you for calling in tonight, my friend. You have yourself a good one. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, Venom.
Definitely will, Joe. Have a good one, man.
All right, peace. Listen, Venom calling in with the fire. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. Also, please subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell as well. Give the stream a thumbs up. I'm always grateful for the people that do that. You know what I'm saying? Please hit that thumbs up button and help share the stream. And also share the stream on your social media. Share it with your friends and family. I love connecting with new people and talking football with different people. Salutes to NY Jets FL in the chat. Another one of my savages, man. He says, Joe, how many times in your post game did you say that receivers were wide open everywhere, including Cordell Patterson and running backs like Jonathan Taylor? He's saying that, hey, we should take. I think he's saying that we should take Hamilton with those picks. Listen, I hear what you're saying. You look at this situation, and like I said, I think a lot of those issues would be solved if you were actually able to address pass rush. If you address the pass rusher, if you're talking about taking Kyle Hamilton, if you take a pass rusher, a lot of those things will be solved because they won't have the time to find guys that are running around. You won't have the time. You look at what the Niners are built like. That's exactly how we're supposed to look. We're basically supposed to be the New York 49ers, right? So if you look at how the Niners are built, they're built from front to back. Their safeties, their guys that they have back there, you couldn't name 5 players out of that secondary. I'll watch them. I know a couple guys from there, from Verrett to Ward to a couple of those other guys in the secondary, but they're not like off the charts unbelievable. It's because of the pressure that they generate up front, and it works all within their defense. It's because they got, Bosa and Warner and all those guys rushing the passer and they get after you. So that's what really creates a lot of the issues that they have, that they bring to people defensively. They just absolutely destroy people up front. And you got to make a decision, and usually it's a bad decision because you got 2 seconds or you're going to get smacked. We don't have that. Carl Lawson wasn't playing this year. He's coming back off that torn Achilles. We'll see. I think it's probably going to take him a year to kind of get back into the form that he needs to get into. But after him, we didn't have anybody. John Franklin Myers, he had some plays at the beginning of the season. Next tail end of the season, didn't have much of anything. After him, there was nobody. There was nobody getting to the passer like that. So we've got to address that. And I just think that taking a safety at 4 is just, it's not what we need to be doing. Outside of just defense, we could use some interior offensive linemen. I don't see why we can't take that in the draft. There's a generational center in this draft, Tyler Lindenbaum. And I know people love to throw around generational now for whatever reason. A lot of people are just starting to do that. But I'm telling you, when you have one of the highest rated centers to come out in the last, I think, decade, and you look at the tape and you watch this guy, and he's just destroying people. He's pancaking guys. He gets your hands on you. You don't get away. I don't know if you can pass up on that, especially when you have a quarterback that is struggling dealing with interior pressure like Zach Wilson was this season. So we'll talk. Salutes to all the Savages. We'll continue to come to y'all, so keep on, bringing your questions. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to Joseph Spates as well. Good to see you in here. You know what I'm saying? Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Please subscribe to the stream and give the stream a thumbs up. If you'd like to donate, the super chat is there. If you don't want to hit the super chat, you want to go through the Cash App, please do. We're going to continue to get to these lines. They are hot. Next, I'm going to my guy, Colin. It's my guy, Colin, man. Listen, Colin brings the heat. Salutes to you, Colin. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, Colin, we talking linebackers, all right? CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams. Who do you think was the best linebacker for the New York Jets this season?
Hey, Joe. Good night.
What's going on, man?
Hands on CJ Mosley, right?
Okay.
These guys been all over the field. So, without a doubt, CJ Mosley is probably the best guy we have on defense right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he was flying around, dude, making plays everywhere. I think that CJ was unbelievable for us. But let me tell you, that $17.5 million cap hit we're going to have from him this year, now that's not amazing. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that really makes me appreciate the type of general manager that we have now versus, what we had in Mike McCagnon. But when you continue to look at this linebacking core, man, a guy like Jarrod Davis, he's walking into free agency. Is he somebody you'd like to see the New York Jets re-sign?
They should try to re-sign him. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to re-sign him because of how much we have to pay CJ. But we can get a guy in the draft, right? We don't necessarily have to re-sign him. You have CJ who's a veteran linebacker. Let's get some young talent, and CJ can develop those guys. So if he walks, he walks. You can get a linebacker later on in the draft. Yeah. That's pretty much how I'm looking at that.
Yeah. And
there's other guys there on the team as well. So.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next because you talked about letting them walk, and I'm like, okay, Jarrod he missed some time with injuries and stuff like that. Okay, fine. But when you look at some of the other linebackers as well, like a guy like Blake Cashman, who's always injured, so I don't know if you can really depend on him going forward. But you got Hamza and Jamin Sherwood. Now, these guys out of, pretty much all of the rookie class, they kind of gave you the least out of all these rookie class, out of all the rest of the, rookies in the class. What are your thoughts about them? Like, do you have big question marks about them going forward due to the fact that they're guys that we're hoping need to step up and really play in some of these linebacker spots?
Yeah, I think, those guys need time to develop, right? So, again, with having CJ in the backfield there,
mm-hmm.
I feel like, he can, develop these guys. So, we can probably try to get a free agent if we need to. But, we can still get a guy in the draft later on, in the later rounds as well. So
mm-hmm.
I'm not too overly concerned with the linebacking position right now.
Okay.
On the team.
Okay.
As I am with some other positions.
Okay.
Such as, the corner and the safety and the edge.
Yeah. So when you're talking about safety,
yeah.
because we were talking about that tonight too, look, there's a lot of talk out there that the New York Jets are looking to re-sign Marcus May. What are your thoughts about that, man? Is he a guy that you want back? And if so, if you were the general manager, what would be the most that you would be willing to give him?
Well, that's the thing, right? Before everything came up with him, I think he was looking for, 15, 16 million or something like that a year.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct.
It might have been somewhere around that ballpark.
Yeah, I'm not paying him that much. He can walk.
Mm-hmm.
I rather, listen, we didn't pay Jamal, and he was asking for like 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna pay Marcus May, 15 or 14 at this point. Not, and I hate to get you all razzled up, but
rile me up. Go ahead.
I'm still yeah, I'm still like, the guy I want is Hamilton. I just don't know how we can get him, but I don't want to lose that guy in the draft. If he's at 4, I'm just trying to figure out how else can we get him, because would you rather have not Marcus May, or would you rather have a guy like Hamilton, in the back there?
Yeah.
Young guy that could be on the team for good.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, and I know that you love Hamilton, and I get it. He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player. But my question is, and you kind of brought it up a little bit a second ago, that there's a lot of other concerns on this football team, right? There's a lot of concerns with pass rush, which we literally don't have. We literally don't have a pass rush, like, at all. Carl Lawson, we'll see. I always have to say that because people, don't Carl Lawson. We'll see what he's like when he comes back from having torn Achilles. Okay, we cannot count on Carl Lawson coming back off a torn Achilles to give us that 16, sack season. We cannot count on that. Okay, so with all these other question marks that we have, whether it be pass rush, whether it be corner, whether it be offensive line help to protect our franchise quarterback, my question is, how can you overlook all of those position groups and say, hey, I'll take a safety, one of the least valued positions in all of the NFL?
Well, when I look at the team, like the team needs, we need a lot of stuff. But when I look at the O-line, and we had this discussion last week. Mm-hmm. When I look at the O-line, in reality, if Becton comes back 100%, then you have Becton, then you have Vertucker on the left, right? And then on the right, you got George Fant as well. So in reality, really, you're just looking at a right guard, which you can get that guy in the second round. You can get that guard in the second round. You could probably even get that guard in free agency if possible. So for me, I don't feel like, the Evan Neal is the pick that we're going to be, that we need to pick on that 4th pick. I just feel like, you're basically like drafting a player, and then you're kind of like having like with team competition to see like, who's going to play the left tackle. We already have our left tackle, and if Beckham can't go at left, then you have Fant who can play left. So I don't feel like the 4th pick should go on the O-line guy, because the defense, we just have too many issues at defense right now. There's corner issues, safety issues, edge issues. The thing with the edge, if we don't get Thibodeau or Hutchinson at 4, then I feel like you're reaching for an edge if you're taking like a Karlaftis or something like that. I'd rather take the best available player, which in my opinion would be Hamilton, at 4.
But
you can still get
now, and I hear what you're saying. You talked about Evan Neal. You talked about Evan Neal, and okay, you're saying you don't want to take Evan Neal, but what about Nkwonu? Nkwonu from NC State. This is a guy that has been talked about taking at 4 as well. He's the guy that can come in and play well for us too at guard. There's been talk about him moving him to guard, or he could play, outside as well. So why not take him? Because my big question is this, is that when you, like you just said as well, you don't want to reach, and I understand that, but to me, I would rather reach on a position of impact than, take a guy at a non-impact position. I'll do that all day. I don't understand why we couldn't just take Tyler Lindenbaum there at 4. He's a generational center. Why can't we just do that?
If Lindenbaum is at 10, I have no issue taking him at 10. We can still get a guard at 10, but I just feel like the overall talent, right? Guys like, Derek Stingley, barring the injuries right now, we'll see what happens at the combine.
Yeah, that's a big question.
But, a guy like Stingley, a guy like Hamilton, those two guys will be an immediate impact on the team. So, for me, I just feel like, the biggest needs on the team, forget about positional needs like the value, but I just feel like safety for us right now is a big issue.
Yeah, but
even when we really need to get a safety.
Yeah, but even when you look at this, and I hear you, we do need to address the safety position again, depending on what happens with Marcus May. Especially if he walks away, because I don't think anybody's trusting Jarrod Davis. But when you look at the position, let's go back into history, right? Jamal Adams was here. You would hope that Hamilton would turn into what Jamal Adams was, right? All-Pro, Pro Bowl safety, phenomenal. Guess what? The impact that he had on the game didn't matter because we didn't have the positions of impact that we needed. And he was great. Jamal Adams was great. That's why when I came out and I talked about getting rid of him and how crazy he was going to go, I understood why people were, trying to come at me the way they did. But I was right, because when you look at the impact, the impact that he had on the game, it wasn't the same as a pass rusher. It wasn't the same as an offensive lineman. It wasn't the same as a wide receiver, which is what I was volleying for back then, right? So even if you have a great safety, if you don't have any of those positions shored up, which we could have, none of that is going to matter.
But Joe, when Jamal was on the team, honestly speaking, when Jamal was on the team, to me, he was the best defensive player on the team. There was no one else doing anything on defense.
And that was the
CJ
problem.
Mosley was hurt for the whole year. So, we were relying on Adams a whole lot to do a whole lot of things on that team. So, just think about if we had CJ Mosley healthy with Jamal back there, what a difference that defense would have been if CJ, was able to play all 16 games with Jamal at the same time.
Well,
that's how I'm envisioning the team right now.
Yeah, and I hear that, but the problem is that you're still having the same questions. Is we still don't have a pass rush. The same issues that we had then, we kind of have now. We don't have a pass rusher. Jamal Adams was literally our sack leader, and everybody says that like that's some crown jewel. It's not. If your safety is your sack leader, there's a problem. If your safety, like everybody says that, if your safety is your sack leader, there is a problem on your football team. Your safety should not be your sack leader.
But
he's a safety. He's not a defensive end.
But what I'm saying,
he doesn't play edge. We have these same issues. You must address that. And I don't think that we can, in the position that we're at. Again, we're in a rebuild, right? We're still trying to find our way. You cannot give up that type of significant draft capital to take a safety. Especially, and again, we're just talking about defense and edge, but we haven't even completely talked about needing more weapons for Zach Wilson. We're not even talking about also protecting Zach Wilson too. But we're getting away from that. Go ahead.
But Joe, we have 4 picks. We have 4 picks in the top 38 picks. All right. When it's all said and done, all right, we have 4 picks to draft from. If we don't get the 2 top edges, then, in my opinion, we are reaching for the next best edge on the 4th pick, and this is why I don't agree with getting the edge at the 4th pick. You can maybe get an edge at 10, right? If needed, but with those first 4 picks, we can address 4 needs, and in my opinion, if you have a safety, a corner, an edge, and the guard on those 4 picks, I feel like that team is much better than you know, you can get a wide receiver later on in the draft. A lot of guys are saying you have to give Zach Wilson a weapon and go out and get a wide receiver on the 10th pick.
Mm-hmm.
We can get a wide receiver in free agency. You can go get Allen Robinson or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can draft a tight end. You know, a lot of guys want Trey McBride, so you can draft a tight end in the second round and give Zach Wilson a weapon. You can get like a Zion Johnson at guard in the second round and give him, you know, get that guard position locked down as well. But you're not gonna get a Kyle Hamilton in the second round.
Yeah, but
this is my only argument.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Because you can get Hamilton, you can get like, you know, a Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner at 10. You can get a Trey McBride, you can get a Zion Johnson, and you can still get, even if you don't get a McBride on the second round, you can possibly get like a Rucker or a Ferguson, the tight end, in the third round. So I think they just have to be really smart about how they make the picks, because we have a very good opportunity to get some very good talented players. It's just going to be how we acquire them. You know, I understand, you know, safety is not the biggest need, but I just feel like if you have a guy like Hamilton on the team, you have a safety for the next possibly 4 or 5 years, and we don't have to worry about drafting a safety next year or the following year. I feel like you just get the best talent.
Yeah, here's the fourth pick. And I hear what you're saying, but here's the problem with the argument: is you don't need a safety to have a great defense. You don't. When you look at the last time that we made a run, right, to the AFC Championships, that was quite a long time ago, right? Jim Leonard was not like an all-pro Pro Bowl safety. He wasn't. He was a safety. He was a good safety. He was just a guy that was decent, that got to where he needed to go. Rex brought him here because he understood the scheme better than a lot of other people. He brought him in here to help coach the defense, and he was the starting safety. Jim Leonard went out there and did his job. How did we get to the AFC East Champions or the AFC Championships? It's because we had everything else locked down at positions of impact. We had a corner that shut down half of the field. We had a pass rush. On the offensive side of the ball, what did we have? We had an offensive line that hid Mark Sanchez, and everybody knows I love USC. Mark Sanchez was trash. We hid a trash quarterback with an unbelievable running game, which we don't have now. We hid him behind an unbelievable running game, and we gave him some targets that he could legitimately throw to. That's how we won games. You don't have to have great safeties. If you're telling me that,
right, but Joe,
hold on. You're telling me that we have all these needs. If Hamilton is there, and this is the only guy, and you're feeling like you're reaching everywhere else, why not trade down and get more capital so that you can address more positions of need? I would do that. I would trade down. I would trade down a couple picks before I would take a safety at 4. We're going to go back and forth, Colin, but I would not do that. I don't care how great he is. I wouldn't do it. Go ahead.
I wouldn't oppose to doing that at 4 if the 3 picks in front of the Jets, right, and Hamilton is the next best guy there, and they want to trade down, I'm fine with that. But if you're going to pass Hamilton and you're just reaching for a Karlaftis, or you're drafting the tackle that is probably not the best positional need that we need to fulfill right now, that's where I have the issue. Because I still feel like in the 4 picks we have, we can address the guard position, we can address the tight end position if needed, the edge, the corner, the safety. We have options on how we can address those positions. I just feel like you get that best talented player when that pick comes up for you, because there's so many good guys in this draft. There's not a lot of great guys in this draft, but there's a lot of good guys in this draft. And this is my thing is, you know, get the best out of the best.
No.
Position.
Yeah.
And not necessarily reach for the guy because you want to give Zach Wilson protection, so you go out and you get a Charles Cross or something like that, because now you're reaching. I don't want to see them reaching.
Yeah. Well, I personally
I just feel you can get so many talented guys.
Yeah,
and pick in this draft.
And I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that Evan Neal is a reach there, and I damn sure don't think that Aquanu is a reach there at 4. I don't think that those guys are reachers at all. You know, again, but I think taking him.
Yeah, but
I know he's phenomenal, but I can't take him. I cannot take that safety there, especially with the position we're in. I just think that would be kind of irresponsible of Joe Douglas if he were to do that, which I don't think he would. But I just think that would be irresponsible because you have so many other needs that are so much greater than safety. I just don't. But go ahead. You were saying Evan Neal,
right? But I don't think Evan Neal is a reach as a player at that position. But for the Jets, I feel it is because we have Mekhi Becton. You know, unless something comes out and we hear Mekhi Becton is done, his career is over because of his injuries or something. Then I can see, yes, you draft a guy like Evan Neal and you move forward. But, you know, if Mekhi Becton is ready to play and then you're drafting Evan Neal is like, you know, I feel like that's just not, you know, the right direction that we should have gone.
Okay, but here's a question for that though, Colin. I don't mean to cut you off, but here's a question for that. I hear what you're saying. You know, Mekhi Becton's here, but a lot of people are saying that, hey, Neal, not only can he play tackle, but a lot of people think that he can translate and fit into that right guard position, right? But at the same time, I know you're saying, hey, Mekhi Becton's going to be back, and I love Mekhi, and you do as well, but we all know dude ain't been healthy a full season since I don't know when. How do we know that he won't be unhealthy again next season and miss a lot of time where we could see maybe Fant moved back out to left tackle and then moving Neal to right tackle and having a backup? That's something that could be in the cards as well. Mekhi Becton's health could play into a big part of how the New York Jets draft. Mekhi, and I love him, dude ain't never healthy. He ain't never healthy, Colin. He's just never healthy. And I know there was a bad injury this year where, you know, he got a guy thrown into the back of him. But, you know, year before it was shoulder issues. Then it was breathing issues. Then it was all kind of other issues where he missed quite a bit of time. Quite a bit. So can you really go against knocking Neal when, again, he can play that right guard position, which we're in need of? Or if Mekhi gets hurt, then guess what? When you got to switch up this O-line, guess who can slide out to tackle? What are your thoughts about that, Colin?
Well, listen, if you're going to draft Evan Neal, you want to play him at the position he's probably better at, right? That's my opinion, right? So if Joe Douglas went out and got Tyler Linderbaum at 10, I have no issue with that because then you can slide McGovern over, right, to the guard position.
Yep.
But you know, my biggest concern is that 4th pick. You know, if they trade down like you say, I'm fine with it. But if you're reaching at 4, then you know, I personally will be bummed.
No, yeah. Yeah,
they just reach for a player at that position.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in 4 picks you can get 4 quality guys to address, you know, the team needs. And you don't have to reach for any one player at this point.
Yeah.
You know, guys are talking about maybe packaging picks to move back into the first round. We're not there yet where we need to do that to go get one specific guy. You know, you have 4 picks, address 4 needs. And, you know, that's just my opinion though. But
no, listen, Colin, I hear exactly where you're coming from. I get it. I just the ranking of needs I think is great, but I understand your takes about Kyle Hamilton. I've gone back and forth with so many people about this, but I tell you what, man, I like the fire that you bring, and I love going back and forth with you. Let me give you a hand, man. Studio audience, go ahead, man. Give Colin a hand. Colin brought some takes. He did. Not too much. Y'all going too far. Okay? Slow that down. Listen, Colin, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? You have yourself a good night, man.
All right, Jeff. Take care.
Right. Listen, Colin called in. I respect everybody's takes. I get it. We're going to definitely continue to go back and forth about Hamilton, I see a lot of people loving him. Salutes to everybody in the chat. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking all callers. You know what I'm saying? And please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit that notification bell and give the stream a thumbs up as well if you could. You know what I'm saying? So next we're going to my guy, Maxwell. Maxwell, we're coming directly to you. Salutes to you. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Yo, give me your thoughts about this Jets linebacker position. No problem. Give me your thoughts about this New York Jets linebacker position, man. How are you feeling about
I think our linebacker
Quincy Williams?
I think we can be very good in the future, our linebackers. So a lot of our linebackers got injured. That's why I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Now, when you look at this situation, do you have big question marks surrounding Hamza and Jamin Sherwood going into next season?
I mean, I do have huge questions, but maybe getting a good linebacker would maybe help fix these problems. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as they're not injured, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, so when you look at the linebacker market, what are some guys you'd like to see target? I'm big on Kaywon Alexander. Is that a guy you'd like to see the New York Jets bring in?
I think he'd be a good player, but I haven't watched a lot of highlights of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So also as well, we have a guy like Jarrod Davis as well. He's going into free agency. Is he somebody you'd like to see the New York Jets re-sign?
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of him, but because I think he should be re-signed because we had actually a good defense. Jarrod Davis is a product of the line. Under Matt Patricia, who's horrible as a coach.
Yeah, Matt Patricia is really not good. So when you look at the New York Jets draft, we've had a lot of people talking about what the Jets could do at 10. Some people want Sauce Gardner. Some people want Nakobe Dean. What do you think the New York Jets should do at 10?
So what I think the Jets should do at 10 is if Tyler Linderbaum is there, we should draft him, and he looks really good. But I don't think we should draft an offensive lineman in the first round. You could find a bunch of good offensive linemen in later rounds.
What? So you're telling me? Wait. So you're telling me that you don't want us to take anybody. You don't want us to take Nkwonu. You don't want us to take Evan Neal. You don't want us to take any of those.
I want to take on Linderbaum, but
okay.
We have Linderbaum, but our offensive line is developing. We have a much better offensive line in the last couple of years. I mean, Zach Wilson, I get he wasn't patient, but Linderbaum is really good. That's what I think. With the fourth pick, I'll take Kyle Hamilton, and then we can either get Treylon Burke in the later rounds we can select Kenneth Walker from Michigan State.
Mm-hmm. So you're telling me
because he's a really good running back. His year this year reminding me of Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. So you're another guy that wants to take Hamilton at 4, and I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Colin. There's a lot of people talking about this. How can you pass up on taking pass rush or addressing the O-line, which I don't think is as solid as you think it is because there's some holes there, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. How do you pass on taking that? Hell, how do you pass on taking a corner when you have all these other needs? How could you possibly take a safety?
So the reason why I think we should draft Kyle Hamilton is normally I'm not that big on safeties. But Kyle Hamilton could change the defense. He's a generational prospect. I've watched highlights of Hamilton. I've watched a ton of highlights. He can play in a lot of – he can play corner. He can play safety. He can play a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. He's very versatile on their defense, I think. But I do agree if someone wants Stingley or Sauce. I mean, he can – Ahmad Sauce. I mean, he's the best corner prospect I've seen in years. So I don't care if the Jets and Sauce, but I will be pissed off if we pass on Hamilton.
Yeah,
biggest mistake the Jets will make is pass Hamilton.
No, I don't. I think the New York Jets have no business drafting a safety. I think that we should, and he's phenomenal. I think he's great, but we need way more than a safety, and there's no way that you can take that, especially when we have no pass rusher. We literally don't have a pass rush at all in a defense that relies on pressure and pass rush to work. We don't have that. You don't need a great safety in this league to win games. You don't. As long as you have a decent guy back there that doesn't get cooked, you'll be fine. But we don't need to take those guys when we have so many other needs, especially at corner. And I know people like Stingley. His injury history scares the heck out of me. But I would not look to, hell, I'll take a corner before I would take Kyle Hamilton. I would trade down. If Kyle Hamilton's the only guy there, I'm trading down, or I'm taking Tyler Linderbaum. That's my whole deal. I'm with you on Tyler Linderbaum as well, and the impact that he could have on the line. But I just do not understand how you take Hamilton. We have so many other needs, no matter what we're saying. Because again, we saw even Jamal Adams, all-pro guy, made no difference on the defense because we were still getting cooked. We were still losing games because he was just a safety. And he was unbelievable.
As much as I like Hamilton, if Thibodeau falls at 4, I think the Jets should get him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just say this because I think Thibodeau is not going to fall past 1 because he's the best defensive end prospect I've seen in years.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about some of these other guys that are flying up the board at pass rushers as well? I know people are talking about reaching, but dude, I've heard people talk about taking Jermaine Johnson at 10. I've heard a lot about Boye Mafe definitely jumping up the board. What are your thoughts about those two guys?
I mean, those players can be good, but Nakobe Dean's also a pretty good pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can sign a good pass rusher. There's a bunch of good pass rushers in free agency. Or if Kayvon Thibodeau falls in the draft, I would 100% take Kayvon with the 4th pick probably.
Yeah. I mean, if Kayvon's there, I'm taking him. I know that there's some people that have jumped off of the Kayvon Thibodeau boat. I don't know why. I'm still on that boat, and I'm happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? I hope that he's there at 4.
Concerns with the guy, probably.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll tell you what. If he's there, I'm taking him. I'm running to the podium with the card, and I get it done. So my final question before I let you go, my friend, is when you look at the New York Jets right now, and you look at the way that things are changing, how free agency is going to happen, the way that players are moving around. We've seen our general manager in the past not be able to land those free agents that we target, not be able to land the free agents that we covet. Do you have concerns going into this free agency that Joe Douglas won't be able to close the deal on certain free agents to make this team better?
I'm not that concerned because there's a lot of good free agents this year. Rob Gronkowski is a good example. Even though he said, he wants to go to the Bengals and Burrow, I think Rob Gronkowski, and I understand people think, he's made with Brady. He's going to retire. If Rob Gronkowski is still on the market, I want the Jets to sign him. He's a proven tight end, and I don't think drafting tight ends is a good idea because, you're just going to pray that the tight end's going to develop. George Kittle and Travis Kelce, there's rarities that you can find a tight end in the draft. So getting someone like Gronkowski, who's very rare, and I get he might go to the Bengals because of Burrow, but I would like him. Yeah. There are other good receivers. I'm not going to trade Allen Robinson, even though he's one. I understand. I might want to sign him, but more like a cheaper deal, like a $5 million deal, because
I don't think you're gonna get him for $5 million. I don't think that's gonna happen. But go ahead.
I'm talking about $5 million. I'm talking about that because he's pretty. Even though he has one bad season. He was with Matt Nagy. He was the worst offensive coach I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also other good free agents like Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley. I want these receivers because I want a true number 1 receiver in this offense. And also I've heard these rumors about Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I would like him back because he's a good threat for Zach Wilson. Because if Zach Wilson wants to throw the deep ball, he needs someone reliable. Corey Davis is not a deep ball guy. I'm sorry to tell you that.
Yeah,
I want Robbie back.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Anyway.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about Robbie, but the big thing about Robbie is last season he dropped a lot of footballs, and honestly, he's just still a go straight ahead fast guy. And I understand it, but if Joe Douglas did not want to pay that guy the first time, I don't know if he ends up paying him again, or it ends up making the move to have him come back. So salutes to Maxwell. Again, I want to thank him for calling in. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next, we are taking the next caller, Chris, man. We're getting to Chris. We're going to hear his takes very quickly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of takes flying around. Chris, salutes to you. I want to thank you for calling in. Listen, Chris, we are talking Jets football. What are your thoughts about the New York Jets linebacker position, man?
I think we should address the problem through free agency. I don't like the linebackers that we have, except for, I'm a big C.J. Mosley fan. I really like. I predicted him when we were talking as the defensive player. I thought he was gonna have a monster year. He's the dog. He should be a Jet for life. I think we need to really consider bringing this man in, extending him, maybe going down the cap number, and adding some more to the linebacking core. I think we need to address the problem through free agency rather than the draft.
Okay, and I see that there. So when you talk about addressing the linebacker position through free agency, because I'm hoping that C.J. Mosley restructures, but $17.5 million for him is kind of. I don't know if he'll give that money back. I wouldn't listen. I love the Jets. I wouldn't give you a dime. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you a dime back.
But I'm saying we could
Go ahead.
But I'm just saying we could restructure the contract by giving him a long term, maybe a 3 or 4 more year extension, maybe lowering down the cap number. I think C.J. Mosley is a guy that we need to have, culture builder, a guy you can see as a coach on the sidelines, guy that can make a big play at any time. This is the kind of guy, championship guys that can really perform in the thing. I think we need to really consider making him a long part of this organization. He has
a couple of years, left in that deal. They could kick the can down on the road and maybe give him, a little bit more next year or something like that. Just kind of adjust the cap numbers. But yeah, $17.5 million, that is a lot. But when you continue to look at this linebacker position, because you said you want to address it in free agency. So my final question for you is, what linebacker are you looking at in free agency? Because I'm big on Kaywon Alexander. He's the guy that's going to be out there from the Saints. What are your thoughts about him?
I like him. I mean, he's a fast linebacker. He hits, hard. He's and one of the things about Kaywon is just that he he has coverage. Some of the things that the Jets linebackers have lacked. And I'm really surprised. I forget the guy that we signed from the Lions. I was really expecting a lot from from him, but Jarrod Davis, I was very surprised that he wasn't better in coverage. I didn't think he would be that good on the run, but I knew he would be better in coverage. But it's something I want to address through free agency. I think Kaywon Alexander, guys like that, maybe even making a couple of trades for some picks and stuff in the linebacking core, man. I think that we are good.
Yeah, I do. Now, but I got to get your thoughts on this before I let you go. Give me your thoughts on everyone speaking about taking Kyle Hamilton at 4. How are you feeling about that? Really quickly, are you willing to do that? Is he a guy that you would want to see the New York Jets take it for?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What you said?
Kyle Hamilton, the safety. Are you willing to take him at 4? Really quickly, give me your
Kyle
thoughts
Hamilton,
on him.
No, listen. You know by looking at your YouTube channel what I want. I want offense and I want playmakers. I don't care if it's the best the unicorn of safeties and the pass rushers. We need to make sure Zach Wilson is that dude.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I am so against any defensive players to the forefront. I want to really build up this offense and address the defense through free agency and next year's draft.
Yeah.
I can't tell you enough. You're right about the protection, okay? Let's solve a problem in this draft. One is the offensive line. If we double up on offensive line, I'm good with that, and go some tight ends in second and some wide receivers. But we must fix a problem here.
Yeah.
And the offense, listen, a quarterback, by the time Zach Wilson gets to free agency, it's going to be $250, maybe $300 million. We got to make sure this guy is good, man. We got to make sure he's good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know everybody wants Kaywon Thibodeau, and I know you guys want Kaywon Thibodeau. You're talking about, all these people, and Derek Stingley and all that. And listen, that guy has to be good.
Yeah.
Let's I'm tired of recycling quarterbacks in Mark Sanchez, and let's make sure the quarterback is good.
Yeah, and not only make sure he's good, let's make sure that we know what he is. I think that's a big thing a lot of people don't talk about either.
Exactly.
If you don't have him protected and you can't properly evaluate this guy when it comes time to sign him, we're going to be in the same situation that we were in with Sam Darnold. We don't know what the hell he is, what he's going on. But you know what? We have to move on from him as quickly as possible, Chris. Right? Listen, Chris, I want to thank.
Right. Yeah, you're right, man.
Listen, I want to thank you for calling in tonight, man. It was phenomenal to speak with you. Next time I have a show, call in, bro. I really enjoy talking to you about the Jets, my man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you have a good one. Salutes to Chris. Salutes, man. Salutes. We're about to close out the show. It's getting late, baby. It's getting late. This has been phenomenal. I've had a lot of really good discussions with a lot of people. A lot going on with the New York Jets. Again, that franchise tag, now being able to get used, it's in play. We're going to see what, people are going to do. And it's definitely going to impact the Jets and free agency. So, listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. Again, YoungJ000. The show's page is at The Long Beach Joe. All right. You want to go ahead and troll me? No problem. I will troll you right back. Follow me. I'll follow you right back. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times. So if you troll me and Vera Tucker are going to get right at you. You know what I'm saying? USC, fight on.
90 seconds.
You can also follow the YouTube page as well at Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Type that in. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Give my streams a thumbs up. And also, you want to troll me? No problems. Troll me back and forth in the comments, okay? And I'll go right back and forth with you. And as always, people, when you see me in person, all right, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone, okay? Free hugs for everyone. I respect everybody. Without you folks, I'm absolutely nothing.
60
Thank you
seconds.
for taking the times out of your day to listen and call into the show. Without you folks, I'm absolutely nothing. Thank you, all right? You folks have a good one. Peace. 1 second, folks. All right. We are back at it. Woo! That was a hot show. Quite a bit of callers. All right. For those of you that are new, okay, because I know I have new viewers and new callers. People hit me up. Listen, my shows are 2 hours. We usually start at I think 7 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me. Kind of 7 p.m. Eastern when we usually start. And the show's 2 hours, and we have a lot of fun. We do this. If you want to be on the show earlier, if you utilize this number, call the show about 10 minutes before the show starts. My lines open up, and boom, you'll be on the show a bit earlier. That's a trick that a lot of my older callers use. Exclamation point links in the chat brings up my link tree. My link tree has the links to all of my content. If you're confused about, where my social media is, on my Twitter or anything like that, click that link, and it'll take you right there to everything. Please, again, my Discord is in there. All of my social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff is there. You know what I'm saying? So please feel free to go there, And again, for those of you that are new, we do these shows year round. During the season, when my schedule allows, we do a watch party. So we watch the games together, and we have a live radio show after the games. We have a lot of fun. We also play video games on this channel too, when my schedule allows, because my schedule is crazy, as everyone knows. So we definitely have a lot of fun doing that stuff too. We play Madden, NBA 2K. We do a lot of, fun stuff over here, and we really enjoy ourselves, and we shoot the breeze, and we just have fun. You know what I'm saying? We talk about life, all kinds of stuff. So you'll get football and fun over here. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So salutes to everybody. NY Jets FL salutes to him. He says, great show, Joe. Thank you so much. He says, by your logic, we should draft Hamilton at 4 as you advocated for a guard at 6 for Quentin Nelson. What I said was, I did say that if, what I did say was this, is I said that there's a lot of people that look at Tyler Lindenbaum and say that, well, you can't take a center at 6. And I said, that doesn't make any sense because offensive line in this league is extremely important. It's a premium position, right? So when you look at premium position here, it's because they have big time impact on the outcome of the game. We've seen it, right? We've seen that the lack of protection killed Sam Darnold for years. The lack of protection killed Zach Wilson a portion of this season, right? We saw him running for his life for the first part of the season. We really couldn't figure out what he was, but when he finally did get time, there was a lot of issues, pressure, interceptions, and then what happened? PCL injury. That's not good. You can't continue to have that happen, right? So when you're telling me that we can't take a generational center, which would stop that if we had Tyler Linderbaum, he's a generational center, then you take that, because not only are we hurting Zach Wilson with the lack of protection and the issues on our offensive line, we're also hurting Michael Carter, who for all intents and purposes looks like he can be a really good running back in this league if he actually could like run through a hole cleanly without guys being in his face in the backfield. And I want to remind people constantly about the setup of our team, right? Because this is very important when we talk about scheme and we talk about all this stuff, right? We are literally supposed to look like what the Niners look like. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at the Shanahan offense, it's a run-first offense. We are ranked 27th in rushing in the league. That's unacceptable. The 49ers literally run with a bunch of no-name running backs that you wouldn't know if they walked next to you down the street. You wouldn't know who they was. Hey, it's just a buff guy. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what he does. You know what I mean? But they run all day, and they're always near the top of the league in rushing. But we can't do that because our O-line doesn't get that type of push. We have to fix that. We have to. Because also the best thing that you can give a young quarterback is a solid running game. Think about how much more potent we would be if our running game was something that we could rely on consistently. He only rushed for 100 yards one time this year. Now, I think that was against the Jags. You can't function like that. So, yes, I did say we should take Linderbaum. And then when people did argue against it, I said, well, hey, the Colts took Quentin Nelson at 6. Are you saying that Quentin Nelson's a bad pick? Are you saying that Quentin Nelson wasn't? No. If you feel like a guy is generational, as Tyler Linderbaum has been referred to by most scouts, he's one of the most high. I think he's the highest rated center to come out in 10 years. With all the protection issues that we have here, I don't know if you could walk away from that. So, yeah, I did say that. But salutes to you, man. I love going back and forth with you. Hey, give me your takes, man. Let's go. So, but I am big against taking a safety, especially at this point. I would not like to do that, but we'll see. We'll see what goes on. We'll see how free agency pans out. We'll see what the needs are. But I do not want to see us take Hamilton. But that's something that we're going to be talking about for a long time into the draft. I already see it, and I love it. I love this. For those of you that don't know, it's why I do this show. I love connecting with people and talking football. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. I enjoy doing this. This is why I do the show, is because I want to talk to people about football, particularly the Jets. You know what I'm saying? I love connecting with Jets fans. It is what it is. So that's what it's all about here. And also, I don't allow cursing on my show. For those new callers, do not call into my show cursing a bunch. I'll get you out of here. It's all about respectful debate, even if you yell. Don't get too crazy with the yelling. But even if you yell, you know what I'm saying? That's cool. But don't curse. All right? I'll get you out of here fast. So, again, salutes to NY Jets FL. Always good to see you, my man. Good to see you in here. Nathan Colgrove, good to see you. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of back and forth and fire. Venom G's, good to see you in here as well. Good to see, everybody that just joined and came on by, man. Everybody that had a lot to say. Budgeting D, Joseph Spates, good to see you in here. Joseph Treasure, good to see you in here as well. Just everybody that came on by and stopped by and said, what's up? How about them Jets? All my guys, man. Just everybody that stopped on by. Salutes. Spin Max Dave as well. And Steel Stone. Good to see you in here too, man. Salutes to everybody, man. Salutes to everybody. So I'm going to get on out of here now. Schedule's crazy. I got to go. But listen, hey, be safe, folks. All right, be safe. I don't know what's going on out here, but the world is crazy, okay? Be safe out here. Sit down with your friends, your family. Have some good food. Enjoy your times with your friends, your family, and your loved ones, and let those that you love know that you love them. It's extremely important, all right? Extremely important, okay? Listen, be safe. I want to see y'all next time I have a show. I want to have a lot of fun with y'all. We're going to continue this on, and we're going to have a blast, man. So enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you folks later, all right? You folks have a good one.